All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 119th episode of The Get Down presented by Digital Music Pool. My name is Kareem.
GaryW here.
Lot of events happened in the last little bit. This is going to be a great episode here. Lots to talk about. I think first and foremost, Get Down meetup. Big success. What were your thoughts?
Get Down meetup was a fun time. Met a lot of... I did everything that we told everybody else to do. I met a lot of new people. Had a lot of really good, long conversations, actually, with a good amount of people. And it was nice to see people that are interested in possibly working with us and met some potential DJs that we're going to use here in the future. And it'd be good. It's just a nice way to go into summer here, honestly. I think the meetup probably couldn't be at a better time. Because now I feel like everything kind of there's that shift, right, in our market. I think there's a shift in all markets, right?
Yeah, definitely.
To that summer mode, and everybody's going out to their beach houses or lake houses or whatever it might be, and there's different gigs that are popping up, which is very exciting, and having that networking right before that all happens, I think is really important. I'm actually about to go to a meetup here on Thursday in Orlando, so I think it's just a good time of year to do it.
A couple of my takeaways from the meetup would be it was really cool to see some people from like other parts of the country that popped up. We had, people from Florida. We had even Steve from Milwaukee who just happened to be in town and he popped in. So it was cool to meet him in person because I never met him before.
Right.
Chachi popped out. So it was cool to see some of those people. It was also very cool, like you said, to be able to really dedicate more of the event to meeting the people that were in the room. I know we did some recording and, running around, but I think we were able to really have more conversations with DJs, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a lot of new DJs, a lot of DJs I didn't know, I wish more of like the high-end in-market DJs came through.
Yeah.
That was my one takeaway. Like, man, I wish more of the high-end non-get-down guys popped in.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Because we don't get a chance to hang out and talk to those guys. So that would have been nice to do that. And to be honest, like I'm thinking about how many meetups there are in our area. There's not a ton. I mean, Dream does theirs, right? They've done now like 2, I believe, or 3, and we have ours. So like it would have been nice to see some more of that kind of high caliber talent come out.
Yeah.
But
it was great to check out
time.
Mikey Parari's presentation, which was awesome.
Yep.
It ran way longer than we ever thought it was going to run. I mean, even he said the same thing, where it just ran really long, like almost 2 hours. So that was cool. But it was good because he got to do like the beginner thing and then the advanced thing. So it was something for everyone who is producing, which is super cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of everything else. The food truck, I didn't even get a chance to go out there and eat, to be honest with you. I heard that the food was excellent.
Yeah, food was good. My girlfriend Anicia popped out there and was talking to the food truck people and brought me a sandwich, which was excellent. So I was pumped about that. But yeah, I didn't even get to go out there and introduce myself, thank them for being there, like nothing.
I went out looking for them at one point earlier, but they hadn't showed up yet. And then once they got there, we were just too slammed, honestly. But I'm interested to see all the content that's going to come out of this. I know some people brought like photographers and videographers with them, and then we had a couple, and I didn't know who was who, to be honest with you. At some points, I'm like, are these people that are working with us, or? But yeah, it should be interesting to see. We're gonna put something nice together for everybody here, hopefully soon.
It was interesting to see all those content people in the building. Like other people found it so important that they wanted to bring their own content people with them so they can grab content just for being there, which was cool.
It just simply shows you how content is king, right? Like no matter what you do, you should probably have somebody with you, or you should be doing something in order to just create a little content to put out, and something that's fresh and different, especially something like that, like which is not something that you're doing weekly. I think that's kind of cool to have that, like I said, different content. So.
All right. Overall, great event. They always are, always leave motivated. It's always great to hear from our DJs, like that they're excited and motivated and pumped after being in that room. So successful event.
Yeah, I'd like to, I'm actually going to go out and say this in public just so we kind of get held to it. I'm hoping we could maybe put something together for the fall. We'll see. I don't know if that's going to be realistic, but we're going to try.
maybe like first week of November type thing.
Right.
We
Yeah,
can
that could
settle
work.
in on the fall a little bit and get going.
Yeah.
So, all right, I wanna go on a little cream rant here because number one, I think we're a little overdue, and number two, I haven't shit on private events in a while, so I
Do you
feel like
do you have like a quota that you have to shit on private events like every 10 episodes?
maybe. Now, let me preface this by saying that I respect all the private event DJs like greatly. And I only say this because I realize how much harder I have to work for private events than for nightlife. And that's why I kind of talk shit. But we had a wedding this Friday, and myself and Tim Vu went out there. It was in Pennsylvania. It was like 2 hour ride. So I literally left my house at 12 noon. We packed the truck. We drove out there and we started getting set up. And I brought the wrong speaker, right? So let me just preface this by also saying, like, with private events, they one of the reasons why they give me so much anxiety is just like you never really know what you're walking into, right? No matter what the bride or groom say on the call, when you get there, it's a lot of times different, especially for certain events where, like this one, the DJ and the dance floor and the bar were sort of outside on the terrace, and the dining room and the place where the speeches and first dances all took place were inside. Always a challenge. So I get there, I have the wrong speaker, so I can't plug in my iPad so I can do like playlists and Spotify playlist stuff that I would normally do.
Okay.
Luckily, I brought a set of extra speakers. Why? I have no idea.
Is that normal for you?
Never, 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 never. But I brought the extra speakers because I knew there was 2 rooms. I'm like, who knows? Maybe we'll have to figure something out. So glad I did, because if we didn't, we would have had no sound in the dining room where, the speeches took place and where the first dances and introductions took place.
Wow.
So I'm sweating. I'm worried. I'm like, what are we going to do? I'm like, fuck this. We're just going to run the speakers all the way from the DJ booth into this room, which had to be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 XLR wires daisy chained together to get in there.
It's really praying that everything works properly.
Just before cocktail hour starts, I'm doing this. I made this decision. I'm taping wires. I'm on my hands and knees in my suit pants. I got cobwebs all over me. I'm dirty as hell. I'm like, this is fucking terrible. Terrible. I'm texting Gary like, Gary, we got to have a guy to do this. Like, I can't be doing this.
I guess I was DJing at that point. I was like kind of reading it.
And so, yeah, like I was specifically requested for this particular event because it was one of my best friend's sisters getting married. And he was like, it's a small wedding. I can't invite you, but I want you to be there. So, like, just come. And I was like, fine, I'll MC.
Right.
Side note, MC cream is like a real thing now. I actually really enjoy doing it, like hosting these parties.
I remember years ago where you're like, I can't believe I got to do this. So nervous. I don't like
terrified.
doing it.
I used to be terrified.
So, yeah, I was surprised you texted me that later on in the night. Like, yeah, like I really liked hosting the event. It was fun. I was kind of shocked.
It was a good time. Again, I knew a lot of people there. It was like my family, my friends and his family. So I knew a lot of people there, which made it a lot easier. But I think I've just gotten so much more comfortable between doing this.
I was going to say, is this got to be
like doing our interviews in Miami, like getting over all these hurdles where like going and introducing some people in a private event setting really doesn't faze me anymore. Right. Where at one time I used to be so nervous, I didn't even want to do it.
You know what? It's funny you bring this up because at the meetup when we, we did our talk or whatever, like felt super comfortable just being able to just stand up there and do the things that we have to do. Whereas like the first one, I was like, do we really got to talk? Like, yeah, this kind of sucks. Like, you know how I am with the microphone too. Especially.
You were like, Cream, let's do a shot before you go do this.
Usually, yeah, right. But like, it's gotten a lot easier, and I think being in front of the microphone a lot is helpful.
You know what? A tactic that I use that's like made it so much easier for me on the microphone, and this goes for it could be nightlife or private event stuff, but private events I have notes, right? Or I never directly look at people like in the face when I'm making these announcements because I feel like that's what gets me nervous when I feel like all the eyes are on me.
Right.
So if I just don't look directly at anyone and you look more like I'll look at the wall or I'll look at the speaker on the other side of the wall to make it like seem like I'm looking out into the room, but I'm not actually concentrating on any individual person.
Yeah.
That could like throw me off or make me nervous.
Yeah. That's actually a great tactic. Because yes, once you get like that, you feel like somebody's staring at you or whatever it might be, and your mind runs to somewhere else, then it gets tough, and you can
Right.
get lost really,
I'm
really
out there like,
easily.
don't say the wrong name. Like, don't say the wrong name. The other thing is, because we were in 2 separate rooms, I had to like peer through the glass and give Tim, who was DJing, like the cues to play the music, which made it really, really difficult.
Jeez.
It was just like a lot of stuff that, of course, you don't expect, right? It wasn't in a, anytime you have one of these events and it's not in your stereotypical, like, this is a wedding venue, you run into this stuff. Like, the power might not be good, or you have extra rooms, or the speakers don't work, or whatever the case may be.
Johnny Mac said brand new speakers they set up right at a wedding, and they plug them in, and the power outlet blows the speakers out.
Oh my God.
$4,500 worth of speakers just blown out, never used.
Jeez.
He was telling me at the meetup, and I was like, "Oh wow, that sounds like an absolute nightmare."
Do you have a warranty for something like that? You have
I
to.
don't. I guess I don't know. That's why you have insurance. I guess I'm not really sure, but like they had to run out and go grab more speakers at that point.
Yeah, man. But like at the end of the event, I'm carrying 60 pound, 15-inch speakers. Like, I woke up yesterday on Saturday, my back was killing me. Like, my hips were sore. Like, just terrible. Just terrible. The event was great. They were super happy. We had fun. I DJ'd a little bit at the very end, which was cool. I did like a Jersey punk rock set into like a just like fun end of the night songs, which was cool.
Man, they were killing you on TikTok about being old. They're really gonna kill you now, saying your back hurt on Saturday.
I know, dude. But shout out to all the private event guys, because it's so much work. It's so hard, and like, the guys and girls who do it well, like, you're really good. You have to be really good at what you do, and you have to be really versatile in what you do. So while I might shit on it and hate it, doing it personally, I have the utmost respect to all you guys that do it, because I know how hard it is.
There's a reason there's a premium on that price tag, man, when you do weddings and whatnot, because the work is it's there. That's for sure.
We've done a better job as far as pricing our events, where it's like, all right, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of work, but we're at least getting paid for like what I think we deserve for doing stuff like this. So
yeah, it's a world that you know what, I thought about it the other day, and I'm like, is that a world that I could see myself maybe going back to once a month just to like make extra money? Maybe, but like, it's been so long.
But let me position it to you this way, because I spoke to another DJ this morning about this. All right, like, I'm not going to throw numbers out for private events because they're all different, but like, if you're doing a wedding, like, I would hope you're making $1,000 at least. Like, if you're getting hired to go DJ a wedding from a company, whatever. I'm not even talking about pricing, right? Whatever the number is that gets you out of the house to go do that event,
right?
I can make that much money in nightlife for less time and less work, where I just walk in with my backpack. Like, that's the reasoning why it's like, unless it's the ultimate high end and I'm upselling, like, you're getting DJ Cream, the club traveling DJ, and I'm getting a lot of money, it just doesn't make sense, because I could do the same amount of actual time DJing and work and make the same money pretty much.
I think for people like, I think for nightlife DJs, though, there is also that opportunity to link up with private event groups and just be able to still bring that backpack in and make a decent night's work. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's become a space for that, which is really nice. That wasn't always a thing, right? There's become a space for private event companies are looking for higher end club talent to walk in and rock a wedding.
Yeah.
And they'll let you just come in and bring your laptop, right?
I think most of the time, though, the DJ is responsible for bringing the gear, It might not be packing the truck with all the bells and whistles, but it's at least bringing your basic 4-hour reception setup kind of thing.
I think in some cases, yeah. It varies, right? There are so many different companies that do so many different things,
right?
That it can look in a lot of different ways. But
it's really a matter of what you want to do, though, right? Do you want to do private events or you don't? If you don't, there's still opportunity for you to go and book 2 gigs or 3 gigs and make at least as much money as you would make in one private event. And the thing that bothers me about the private event people that are like, well, I make so much more money, but how much more time do you invest? It's not just the 13 hours, 12 noon that I left my house and 1:30 a.m. that I got back to my house.
Right.
It's the multiple phone calls. It's the initial sales call. It's the pre-event call. It's the hours of time prepping. It's like, sure, you might make more money, but you're investing way more time into those private events than you would be to just download new music and prep for nightlife or day life.
No, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, I think that I think we have a pretty unique situation where we do have so many gigs on a Saturday and a Sunday that you can double and triple, right? And you can make that money. A lot of people in I think that's a very unique situation. I don't think that that's the deal with everybody.
Right.
Usually,
that makes
guys
sense.
that are getting booked on a Friday and a Saturday night, that's all that they're getting booked for is a Friday and a Saturday night. You know, they don't have the luxury to do Friday, Saturday brunch, Saturday evening, Saturday night, then wake up, do Sunday brunch, and then do Sunday evening again. Like we just have like we have a lot of venues and a lot of different gigs.
Realistically, let's think about this. Thursday night is one, right?
Mhm.
Let's say Friday happy hour, Friday night. Saturday, you could do the brunch shift, then an afternoon shift, then a night shift. And Sunday, you could probably double up. If you really wanted to work 8 nightlife gigs in one weekend, you could.
I
with
do it.
Get Down.
I do it.
Yeah,
And
you're a sicko. I don't know how you do it. You're a sicko.
Just go and do it. Like, I don't know. I like it. I grew up doing marathon sets. I love doing them. Like, I don't mind it. And, you know, I feel like I'm going to socially be in that atmosphere no matter what happens. If I'm working or not, I might as well be working.
Yeah, see,
I'm
like,
a little
I'm going to be on my
different.
couch.
You're going to be on the couch.
Or with
right?
my
I know that.
girl, or
Right.
like doing something non-music DJ related.
That's how my friends still hang out. Like my friends that are not DJs still just go and hang out, still at the places. Maybe not that we're DJing at, but they still go and hang out at like a Pier 13 or you know, name a bar or lounge or restaurant. Like, so I'm like, well, if I'd rather be spending the $100 during this time, I might as well be making 300 or whatever it is.
Right.
You know. Plus, I've said this time and time again, I don't do this every single weekend. Now, I just did 4 out of 5 weeks. I'm just completely beat up, like tired, beat up after that. That's a lot. With like smashing Jazz Fest in the middle of that, which was just, I don't know. It was just a lot. But I think we're in a very unique scenario that not everybody can pick up 5 gigs or 6 gigs in a weekend.
I think most people can't. And that's a great point, you know? I'm sure there are people and places where you have those Saturday afternoons, maybe a Sunday afternoon, but there's no way like the double Friday, the triple Saturday. That's even an option
Saturday,
on a weekly
like
basis.
Everything needs to fall into place perfectly for you to work a triple on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like I start at 1 and end at 2:30, and it's because it's working for the same group. Like if I'm not working for that same restaurant group, the hours get all shifted around and you can't do it. So yeah, it's like you have to be very lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Lucky and I guess a little nuts to do it as well.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. There was a really interesting topic that got brought up in our Discord, and it was around the music that's like popular right now, because some of our DJs were out at EDC this past weekend, which we're going to get into a little bit later, but kind of just like sending us some recaps and letting us know like what's going on, whose sets were really dope. And we got into talking about how certain people were like scared to play certain music in nightlife. And I felt like it was my place to like check those guys and like really let them know kind of what I look at our role as the DJ to be, you know? And it's important for us to still try and break music and bring new genres to nightlife and play stuff that maybe might not work, but we still have to take those chances. And I feel like not enough DJs are taking chances right now, and it's sort of making everything the same. And we've been talking about this. It's making the scene very similar. People aren't standing out because DJs are going and just playing the same music, and no one's taking chances and playing the music that they actually really love. And I wish we could get back to doing that.
I agree. I remember when I first started playing at Birch, I just went in there and I still played like my like club bar set. And like I don't think that the management there loved it because it was just so different from what everybody else was playing. But at least I was playing my style, right?
Right.
I feel like a lot of DJs have gotten away from establishing their own style. And that's not just, you can have your own style as an open format DJ. I'm not saying you as a tech house artist, you as a house artist. I'm talking about your DJ style, not your artist style, right? Completely different things. You know, if you're a local DJ, like, you have to have your own sound, I feel. And the ways to do that is to bring in those genres that are offbeat, that are not in at the moment. And the more you just hear the same old remixes, you're not setting yourself apart in any way. Like, okay, if you hear this great song and you're like, okay, well, that's really different, let me figure out a creative way to work that into my set. And maybe you run like 2 songs of that similar sound, right? And then you can get out of it. Yeah, you might flatline the dance floor a little bit, but you also might pick up some people where along the way where they're like, wow, that was interesting and that was different. And I'm kind of, maybe that becomes a fan of yours or something like that. I don't know. I could tell a story that, like, I cleared a dance floor this week at 12:30 at a new venue, but because we're establishing a sound in that place, and I'm playing a lot of stuff that I'm into there as well. It's like some drum and bass stuff, like lighter drum and bass stuff, and then like goes into like, there's a lot of different genres that are playing, but it's all non-pop. And I stuck to my guns, and I was like, well, I'm staying non-pop. I know I can keep all of these people in this room, but I think it's more important to establish a sound for the space and for myself in that space, right?
Yeah, I think that's important for new venues, especially if you have a certain sound or style that you're going for. Yes, it might be rough sometimes, but you have to stick to it to really let people know and find your fans of that style and genre.
Right. I know that's
rather than catering to who's in the room. You're creating a place where people who are into this specific style of music can come.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that might be a little off topic of what we're talking about, but you have to have in DJing, you have to have some balls sometimes and just sit there and do what you're supposed to be doing, right? And I think that is introducing new music to people. People used to come out to hear new music. I feel like we've gotten away from that so far, where people are coming out to hear the same shit that they're listening to at home. That shouldn't be the case. Like, you could sprinkle that in, but still, like I said before, have the balls to go out and take a chance. Because if you're not taking chances, then you're not setting yourself apart.
I totally agree. And just to the song and the style of music, we were so the most popular artists right now, right? It's like in electronic dance music, at least, are like Dom Dalla, John Summit, Mal P. I mean, those are like the 3 huge ones right now. All their music is really hitting. It's popular, but I don't always see all of their music translating over to nightlife. So we were talking about Mal P's newest track, Your Mind Is Dirty, which has like a girl orgasming on like the whole second build and break.
Right.
And the DJs were like, are you going to play that? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play that. And what I said was, people might not know that song or maybe they won't not even like it, but it's my job to play that song. It's like, what's popular? It's being played out at all these festivals. And I think it's partly my job to bring that music of what's happening on the front lines of these festivals and big shows and what the big artists, most popular artists are playing. And we can be able to play that in an open format setting. Maybe it falls flat or maybe it goes off, but I feel like it's our job to have to play these records. And the way I said to do this is, all right, if this is the song, right, Mal P, Your Mind Is Dirty. If you don't know the song, go listen to it. It's kind of got like an acid, techno-y sort of drop. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a little deeper, darker sound that I would say is normal for like your run-of-the-mill club, right?
Yeah.
So, but how you can play this song is maybe you play the Dom Dalla Rhyme Dust, which is like the biggest record out right now. Most people are going to know it. It's going to work. Then you put this song, this new song, in the middle, and then after it, maybe you play Drugs from Amsterdam, Mal P. It's all in that same world, and you're sandwiching a new song, something you've never played before that you want to test, with 2 records are going to work in that same genre. I do the same thing with my original track, right? I have an original that I'm testing. Nobody knows what the song is, but I'm going to sandwich it in between 2 huge records to see if it can keep that energy. And that's how you test records. And if it doesn't work, you have a banger following it up that is going to work. And this works for any genre. And it's just, we got to take more chances, guys, and this is how we can do it. And maybe it's playing Dom Dollar Rhyme Dust into the Dimension D&B or dubstep version, and maybe that's how you introduce something new. Like, take some chances, guys. Like, do some stuff that's different. Play some different genres. It's the only way that we can be on the front end of being artists and DJs and like keeping things interesting.
Your set will never be judged on one track. It's not going to happen. But your set will be judged if you're fucking boring.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, we're gonna get hit up all day. He was boring. He just played the run of the mill stuff that everybody plays. How many times have we heard that?
Yeah.
From club management and ownership. Like, we've heard that multiple times. So yes, go out there, take your chances. And what if that song goes off and now you can like go down this rabbit hole that you probably weren't even planning on anyways.
Right. And if you like that music,
so
it's going to make you so much happier and you're going to be way more into your set.
So refreshing. I'm interested. Why did the guy say that they were scared to play that track? Because it's like a little risque or something?
I guess.
Guys, do me a favor. If you haven't heard the track French Kiss, it's like an 80s classic house song. Classic, played in every nightclub. Go listen to that and then play the Malp track next to it, and it is so much lighter in how raunchy it is. And to be honest with you, if you listen to them both side by side, it sounds like he maybe grabbed that idea from that track, because it's similar in a way. That build, though, is like a 3.5 minute build, and it's just different in that regard. But go check that out because it's definitely interesting. And I don't know, and that reminded me of that time frame where people would go out and like, wow, I heard that song last week at this place. I'm going to go back to that place to hear this song again. I know that doesn't happen as much anymore because the music is so accessible. But like if that track's not out yet and you played it, somebody really liked it, you know, like I said, maybe you get a fan out of it.
Well, I made a living off of this. This is literally how I helped build a name for myself when I started. Because I was opening and closing for other artists, right? And I was going to all the festivals. I was really into all the music. And I was seeing like, well, this headliner didn't play these couple songs. And this headliner didn't play these couple songs. And when I went back on, I would hit all those records. And you're connecting with the people who are most connected to the music by playing these records, you know? It might not be for the masses, but you're going to find, like we said, you know, for the venues, like you play the music and you find those people that are fans. Same thing, right? If I'm playing these newer records that are all hitting on at EDC and all the big artists are playing them, you're going to connect more to that crowd that's going out to those shows, right? And maybe if that's the style of music that you like and you want to be playing, you're going to create more fans that want to come see you hear that music, and then you'll have more access and more ability to play those songs. So it's like you're helping yourself on so many different levels. And in doing that when I was younger, it was a great way to connect with the younger audience. Younger audience.
Yeah.
Because I was the young kid that was playing the music that all the other young kids wanted to hear.
Right. It's always interesting because we revert back to grabbing maybe that new track that maybe is too deep and putting some kind of poppy vocal on it. I know we are promoters of doing that. But do you think we need to get back to a point where, like, just the regular version gets played? It doesn't always need to have fucking Britney Spears on it?
Yeah.
I've said Britney Spears randomly, but, like, I think it's always the same fucking vocal over and over again that's being used because they all work because people like to sing along in the club, right? That's all well and good. But we do need to reserve some space in our sets for originals. I think that's really important. I went a long time in my DJ career playing originals. You know, the mashup thing did come by storm and really has taken over. I think when you and I first started hanging out and DJing together, I predominantly played original music. Like whether it was a pop song or a house song, it was original music. And you'd always be like, well, you should play a lot more like mashups or remixes. And it's like, and I was just like, well, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
You know, and then it has changed over time. But I feel like we can get back to a point where these deeper, bigger sounds can take over our sets a little bit more, and it doesn't always have to be pop.
Some songs are just really, really good the way they are. Like you don't need a Rhyme Dust remix or an edit. It's really good the way it is. You know, you don't need 100 remixes of these songs. Like you don't need a remix of John Summit Where You Are. The original is amazing.
Ever.
I have found myself kind of being over a lot of the edits and just hearing a lot of really bad edits. And it's like, I've found myself playing more originals currently, for sure. And it's just like anything else. You go through waves, right? I'm just sick of hearing, I say to you all the time, like, I'm sick of the LMFAO remix. I'm sick of the Little John remix. I'm like just tired of it. Like, enough. Let's do something else.
Right.
Like, how many times can you put the same vocal over 100 different edits? It's just, you're right. It's getting a little stale, and I think it's because so many people are doing edits right now, and some of them are really bad. They are. Some of them are just really bad.
You want to talk about Morgan Wallen remixes?
Oh, my God. Give me a break. Give me a break. If I hear one more terrible, absolutely terrible Morgan Wallen edit, I'm going to fucking kill myself. There's so many bad ones. They're just so boring and slow and terrible.
I like the Cases one.
I don't know which one I like. There's one over Avicii that I like. That's about it.
That one. That's the one I like.
Is that the one you played for me? And I was like, yeah, I think Angelo has one over Avicii that I like too.
He did 2 Morgan Wallen songs, but did it on with the same Avicii beat. And it was good. And it's like this long-winded synthy thing with no bass behind it, which is kind of funny. But it just worked. It's the one that works for me that I like. But
oh man, people ask me to play country sometimes. I'm like, 0 chance. Beyond 0, absolutely not. We're not playing one single country song. Sorry.
I got home and I heard country in the airport yesterday. I'm like, oh, I am home. Back in
Shout
Florida
to Big Country.
sure.
I still love you. Just not for me, man. Even the Morgan Wallen track, like I've maybe played it like twice.
I actually didn't play it
ever. I'm saying like ever.
Yeah, no, I didn't play it once. Even though I like that remix, I didn't play. I never played that yet. Haven't played it anywhere.
Man, I had a thing with my best friend, my boy Jay, where he loves country and I obviously hate country. And anytime we hang out, he like tries to force feed it down my throat. And I used to just do these like country freestyles where I would just like make up the most ridiculous, like my dog and my pickup truck and my 6-pack, like just freestyle like off the rip, and I'd have him dying. It's real good. I put the a little accent on the voice.
Oh man, we had a night at Moose, Jay and I. That was fun. But
I bet you did.
Yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. Getting just to wrap this up, just getting back into playing more original music and being a little more original in your sets is I think a really good way to start thinking about your DJ sets, and that like it's okay if some people walk off the dance floor. It's okay.
Right.
You know, you have to serve yourself sometimes too, and you have to also serve. I hate to put it this way, but like serve the art of DJing. There's a reason why like you became a DJ, and it's not to play the same shit over and over and over again, right? It's so that you can get creative. Like, if Tone Set is listening right now, I know he's got a big smile on his face because he's the king of being creative, right? Because he loves the art of DJing, and that's I think getting back to that and thinking more in that way is I think the way I'm going to attack my sets for the rest of the year at least.
It's refreshing a little bit, because we've gotten so far away from that. So just like everything else, like there's waves, right? There's waves of everything. And you know what? So one other thing, we were interviewed a ton of DJs, and something that they all said that they, at the meetup, that they would love to see is like a battle or some sort of like DJ technical skill showcase, which I love that idea. And like, we're definitely going to do for sure. But definitely I loved hearing that because it just shows like that the DJs are still, into the technical side of things and we're not losing that side of it,
For sure. I always find the fact that people all, old man in the room comment, people all stand there and stare at the DJ at these festivals. Yeah, sure, you're probably dancing around and whatnot, but like the predominant amount of people just like staring at this house DJ that's just kind of like pointing and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'd be there to dance to the music, not like I don't give a shit that he's jumping on the stage. Like, who cares? Like, I get it that the production is it's a whole show, that all of the video that came out of Ultra is incredible. I mean, the production that goes into these festivals,
EDC or Ultra?
I mean, EDC
Yeah.
is just mind blowing. Like, I was in awe watching some of the stuff that Joey had posted in the group and that he put online. It's just incredible. Like, being there for all of that is awesome, and I'm glad that that's gotten to that point. But if I'm gonna stare at a DJ, I'm hoping that he's like doing some technical stuff that I'm really really blown away by.
Yeah. I think one other thing, Gary. I know we want to kind of get past this point, but just thinking back to even when we first started DJing, right? We were finding more records and breaking more records. And before I started DJing, when there was vinyl and only certain you could grab certain records, and not everybody had every song. It's such an opposite point now where everyone has every song pretty much,
Yeah.
Even the songs that aren't out yet that are getting big on TikTok, people get somehow,
Find a way to get
There's leaks and there's rips and there's all this stuff. And I think because of that, and because of the phone on the forehead and the requests, and everybody wants to hear what they want to hear, we've kind of given into some of that. We don't want the requests all day, so sometimes we just hit that stuff so we don't have to worry about it. Whereas, I don't know. I will hope to see that there are more risks taken and more different genres played. And I used to play like trap in the middle of my sets, and nobody in Hoboken or New Jersey or New York City were like into that, really.
Right.
Not nobody. Many people. It was not a popular genre.
Right.
And I think we could do the same thing with D&B or with techno, even though techno is like the genre. Like everything is getting darker and some acid leads and cool, different dark sounds happening. And we talked about the Ferrari and like just being out and about and being at DJs for one weekend and seeing what's being played at EDC. Like, it's here, guys. Like, it's here.
Yeah. Do you think that sometimes you think DJs aren't taking risks as much because you're afraid of this DJ sucks and getting like blown up on on socials and whatnot? And
I think a lot of times it's because they're scared of the feedback from the venue, probably, or the booker, where they're expecting you to do certain things, and if you stray off of that genre, like, listen, think about what we do. We book DJs and we give them like, hey, this is what happens at the venue. And I think a lot of times DJs probably take that really literally, like, well, this is what Kareem and Gary said we have to play, so this is what I'm going to do. But I think it is important to still try and sneak that one track in, Try and sneak that other genre that maybe doesn't necessarily fit. But you should know, based on like what's happening in the room and what people are reacting to, if you can do that or not. You can't be in an R&B party and be like, oh, I'm going to sneak in fucking dubstep. Like, that's not going to work. But if you're at an open format party and you're playing EDM, then sure, that might work,
Yeah.
Or you're at a house party and you could dip into some of those subgenres, but you have to realize where you're at. And just because something that worked for me or something that worked for Gary in a venue doesn't mean that it's going to work for you, or it doesn't mean that something else won't work for you.
It's all time and place and reading rooms. It's what you're supposed to do, right? It's
being a DJ.
It's the reason
be a DJ, guys. Let's go.
It's the reason that you're in the room. Like, I walked into my rooftop set on Sunday with like this like clear-cut thing in my mind and wound up playing completely different. Like, the most open format set that I've played in a long time, where like I was playing bulks of my Latin night sets and like putting it in with like my disco night sets and like pulling in old school R&B stuff and classic house, like 80s house and classic 90s house, and like literally pulling from everywhere because there was different pockets of the room that all wanted this different stuff, but all was melded together by like a certain one little certain string, which I was able to pull the whole day together that way.
Yeah.
A 5-hour set of all of this stuff that somehow was so unrelatable, but then was relatable in some way because I was working. Like, I was out there and I was working the whole room. And I think when you do that, and when you keep an open mind that I'm gonna kind of not tell a story, but like I'm gonna appease all of the groups in the room. Some good things come of that, and you can play differently.
Yeah. in
But your
DJ's
venue's got to be
defenses,
cool with that.
you and I have earned the right to be able to do that. A lot of times
Yeah.
when we put DJs into venues where you and I could do whatever we want, the owner is going to be up their ass to do what he wants them to do.
You're right.
So,
You're right
so
about that.
that's a little different as far as the experience level of the DJ and how comfortable the venue or booker or owner or manager is with you as a DJ. Your residencies, you could take way more chances. If this is your first opportunity to play a big room that you want to play, you could take some chances, but don't go off the reservation type thing.
Right. That's a great point. Because that'll get you not invited back.
Right. That'll get you exactly. That will get you fired before you even start, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's good advice.
I know we just touched a little bit on the music and EDC, but I want to get into something that happened at EDC and we've been seeing a little more of that I think is like the single most popular thing that's happening in dance music, and that's these really unique and cool back-to-back sets. We've seen it with Chris Lake and Fisher, right? Their styles are way more similar, but we've now seen it with John Summit and Subtronics. We saw it at EDC with Marshmello and Sudden Death, which is such a weird combo, but it seemed to work. So my question to you is, how do we take what's happening at festivals and in venues and seems to be really, really popular and really working and bring that to nightlife?
I think working together with other DJs that might not be your similar style, but knowing that you can get away with having you guys play together maybe at a venue that that like both styles kind of work in a way,
Yeah.
And whether that's maybe a bigger house DJ and a bigger hip hop DJ, because all our venues in our market, at least, are open format, right? And you play a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So maybe you get like a nice prominent hip hop DJ and a prominent EDM DJ, and you work together on something and make it a thing, like hip hop versus EDM or hip hop versus house.
Yeah.
I think those are always good ways to do it. And like I said, don't just do it and make it like put it on the flyer and promote the shit out of it and make it at this event that it's going to be like the clashing of these two different styles. I think that's a very cool thing. You want to do a fucking theme party? That's what you do. That would be a cool theme party.
I might take this to my meeting later this afternoon and use it for the summer here.
You know what? Like, it's all well and good to do the cowboy theme or whatever the hell it might be, but how about like really featuring two different genres and having like titans of those genres in that market come together and do something really cool? I think that'd be dope.
The wheels are spinning. Like, what if we called it like Best of Both Worlds Friday party?
I don't know. I don't know if we could do that yet.
Why not?
That's the old Jay-Z and R. Kelly
I know.
album name.
Oh, yeah, I guess we can't do that. Maybe we can't.
R. Kelly just ruined it for everybody. I came across a couple of his records this week, and I'm like, man, I really want to play Step in the Name of Love, but just really can't do it.
Dude, it's so funny listening to people like, he's a fucking terrible human and a creep, and I don't support anything, but like, man, his music was good type thing.
But yeah,
that's
I
funny.
think that's a really great way to do it. But like I said, you have to be smart about it. You just can't be like, oh, a place that like you don't play dubstep or something like that. Like, you can't bring that sound in if
Right.
it's not going to work for the people.
Well, something that's been really successful for us at Birch, which is our big nightclub here in New Jersey, is having two artists play not true back-to-back, but playing like 45 minutes on, 45 minutes off. And it's two, like more headliner-style DJs. And I think it creates a really cool back and forth because, like we were saying, like when you're on, you're DJing and you're seeing the room. But then when you're off, you're also seeing the room and hearing what's played. And you could fill some gaps or you could see what's really working and maybe dig deeper into that. And I think creatively, it just creates this really cool back and forth between the two DJs because maybe they do have different styles and maybe one's better at one thing and not as good at the other. It's not necessarily like EDM versus hip hop type thing. But that sort of is happening in how the DJs are approaching their mini sets throughout the night. We just had Dario Valley and Sasson play at Birch last Friday, and it was really, really successful. They kept the crowd really late. And we've done that numerous times in the past. We had B. Ren from Pittsburgh play with UFO, so it was a really successful night. So I'm thinking maybe digging more into stuff like that, where there's two really dope DJs, and we let them go be dope DJs type thing,
Yeah. Yeah, I think having two DJs up there to really highlight what they do well, it can only be a good night, right? Like, if any owners are listening right now, these fucking 5-hour and 6-hour sets gotta go because the DJ gets tired at some point, right? When you can attack a night with 2 DJs and they only have to DJ for like what 2 hours a piece, even if it's 2.5 hours each, you're gonna have a much better quality sound throughout your night because at some point in these post-pandemic 5-hour sets, you just get worn down. You know, you can't keep that kind of energy all night. And we're at this point where you need to come on at 9:30 and be energetic. You can't just play filler music, right? So maybe attacking the sets in these ways where it's 2 dope DJs coming together and really highlighting their talents. I think that's a really great way to carry this idea over into smaller markets.
Yeah, I like it. I think, we're going to definitely keep using it. I would love to see if there's other ways to potentially create some buzz in this way. And maybe it is like genre versus genre. That could be cool too once in a while.
That used to be a big thing, genre versus genre.
Yeah, I remember.
I just feel like we haven't. I guess because so many places are so open format at this point, and nothing really leans anything anymore. Like,
right.
Not in our market. Because nothing leans hard into one genre. I think doing these versus kind of events, you're not really getting away with it. But we're playing like 6 or 7 or 8 different genres in a night. Maybe to narrow it down and specify 2 different genres would be really cool.
Yeah, that could be really cool. I mean, back in the day too, there used to be like multiple floors or multiple rooms where you can get different music, and now it's all one room where you got to play everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all praise DJ AM and what he's done for the DJ community, but if you look at the other side of it, everything's become super open format since then. DJ AM is when those rooms went away. The hip hop room went away because he was bringing the hip hop to the main room, and bottle prices had skyrocketed because of it. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way, like did a lot for the DJ community, but also now it's like everything's become one big genre.
Yeah.
If you will. I think it'd be cool to get back to doing that other stuff, like specific genre versus genre. But getting ownership and management to get on board with that's another story.
Right, because now we're asking, if we're bringing 2 headliners, we need to bump the budget. Like, we need to pay more, right? You're not just going to get 2 DJs for the price of 1 type thing.
Yeah, but I think in a situation where, like you said, like if Assassin and Nadario Valley play and the crowd stays later, and was that ring an extra $1,000, $2,000? You got to give the DJ X amount of dollars of that. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Like, those are the questions I think that the booker needs to ask the management and ownership. Is like, hey, listen, we made an extra $3,000, so if we got to pay up an extra $1,000, this might be worth it, right?
Right.
It's when the numbers don't go up that's when you're going to have a little bit more of an issue. But
all right, man. I think we can wrap here. This was a good episode. We're kind of a little all over the place talking about different stuff, but we knew that some of our conversations were going to kind of take us down different paths. So
yeah, but interesting because I haven't thought about a lot of that stuff in a while. So it was good to get the going.
One last thing before we go, I got to shout out Chubbs. We played together on Saturday at Birch, and it was raining all day. It's like the weekend before the summer. One of the big shore spots had opened this past weekend. I'm talking in our Discord like, I think it's going to be a terrible Saturday night. And, I'm driving into Hoboken, and there's like no traffic, which is never a good sign. There's usually traffic at that time for people trying to get in and go to dinner and party and do whatever else. And I'm Negative Nancy out here. And like, the night was probably the best DJ night that I've had top to bottom in a long time. Definitely the best night I've had at Birch that I can remember, probably since the fall. But Chubbs did such an amazing job setting up, going up and down, playing the room, making sure people were happy and dancing. And then I went in and we talked about like big intro, I played like my artist set, which was really dope. We got a ton of really good feedback. And it's one of those sets where I walked away and I was like, we fucking crushed that, and I know we crushed it, and all the feedback from everybody really set that in. So shout to Chubbs because he did an amazing job and like set us up for absolute success. So
not an easy job to open the room. So good stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Peace, guys.